motion?
I'll make the motion that we allow the chief and the task committee or the task force to move in the direction of entertaining enter into negotiations. Did I say that right, Counselor?
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Darrell, seconded by Jamie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. As mentioned earlier, Sarah's out this evening. Ron is here with a quick change to 2020, or quick change for ordinance 2022-02.
Good evening. So about a year ago, you all enacted an ordinance changing the zoning on property north of Veterans Way that wraps around behind Lake Point Apartment Complex. It was recently discovered that there is a clerical error in that ordinance, and specifically in section 1 of the ordinance, it said that the zoning would be changed from B2 General Business District to R2, 1 or 2 family residential. The R2 was an error and it should have been R1. 1 family residential district. That was the recommendation of the Planning Commission, and that's what appears everywhere else in that ordinance, except for the one thing there in section 1. So this ordinance would simply amend ordinance 2021-1 so that it's consistent in referring to R1
Make a motion we pass 2022-2
on first reading.
first reading.
Second.
Motion's been made by Jamie, seconded by Kevin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Can we suspend the rules?
Yes.
I'll make a motion we suspend the rules for ordinance 2022-2.
Motion's been made by Jamie to suspend the rules. Darrell has seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'll make a motion we pass ordinance 2022-2 on the second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made by Jamie, seconded by Kevin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Amy had 2 things for us this evening. The first one being an update to the salary ordinance at 2021-20. Chief, that was to change at the Honda emergency pay, right? Do you want to explain that real quick?
So last year when we negotiated the Honda contract, currently we provide special event coverage or their welding coverage, basically what's called a super class A. $40 an hour is what we charge to basically watch that. However, we had been burned previous years that with less than 12 hours notice, they were calling us during the holidays is the only times they do shutdown. And they were calling us, wanting us to provide service for them with less than 12-hour notice. So when we negotiated that contract last year, I put in that a $50 an hour pay rate would be for those times that were unscheduled less than 12 hours. This year we had to use that over Christmas. Over half of our hot works coverage was scheduled less than 12 hours notice, and I did not realize that the ordinance was not amended at that time. I had actually submitted pay to Julie to pay these individuals their $50 an hour, and it was denied, obviously, to make it through to amend the salary ordinance for that. We do still pay $40 an hour if the schedule is given in advance. If it's given more than 12 hours in advance, we still honor that $40, and that is what we charge Honda, that is what we pay our people. So basically, we bill Honda, the money comes in and goes right back out. It's just funneled through the city. The $50 an hour is the same way. The city's not making a dime off that. We are paying our individuals $50 an hour. We are billing that. The city is just acting as that intermediary to move that through. However, to pay those individuals from work that was done in December, I need to amend the salary ordinance now to make this happen.
What did we bill Honda for those hours? Did we bill them 40?
Yeah. So they're billed 40 and 50 respectively. It is literally money in, money out. The city is not.
I guess what I'm saying is, for those shifts that they didn't give us 12 hours notice, did we bill them 50 or did we only bill them 40?
We billed them 50 as well.
We did bill them 50.
We billed them 50 as well. We've also built in contract cancellations when they canceled on us because, again, it's a lot of scheduling for us. So we did penalize them, or they were able to be penalized a little bit for
inconvenience, because they only shut down over the holidays. Well, that's a hard time for me to get guys because they're with their families. But as far as we bill them 40 or 50 depending on their notification, Jamie. So again, less than 12, they get billed 50. We pay 50. And basically, the request is that we start this process to amend the salary ordinance so I can have these individuals, paid their money that they're kind of waiting on currently.
Any other questions for the chief? If not, we'd take a motion to amend the ordinance, in ordinance 2022-03 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Jamie, seconded by Byetta. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
This is one we can't suspend the rules on, correct?
We can.
I think we can do, and I would say for the record, based upon the fact that it's just, what's that?
No fine.
Yeah, there's no fine, there's no fee, there's no implementation of money. It is a correction to implement something that had previously been contracted, and the relatively emergency nature of the fact that we have individuals that have earned that money but have not been able to get paid because of the ordinance. In light of those reasons, I think you can amend.
I make a motion we suspend the rules on 2022-3. Thank you.
Motion's been made by Jamie, seconded by Kevin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'll make a motion we pass 2022-3 on the second reading.
Motion's been made by Jamie, seconded by Darrell. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? And Chief, while you're there, you want to talk about the wellness program too? Or
I'd
the
like
other
to invite
chief?
my law enforcement counterparts because I've been doing enough talking tonight. So a little bit of background. I believe council hasn't changed since then. So back in 2020, October, November, Mike, you have the
Board works in November, the city council in October.
Chief Bridges at the time and I came to you seeking support for a wellness program. It was a physical fitness and mental wellness program. And we had talked about setting standards above and beyond normal that, if reached, would be monetarily rewarded. And over the past year, our fitness people on both departments have met those. I have 9 out of 30. Mike, you have 4 of his department. So we are having people that are reaching above and beyond what we require of them. We had talked about that in our meetings in the previous years, that we would just initially pay out of budget before asking for an additional appropriation or additional line item through the budgeting process, because we did not know how popular this program was going to be or if it was going to be popular at all. And it has, again, we've made a positive benefit. I know in the police department, or I'm sorry, the fire department side. I can't speak to the police department side, but talking to Chief, they have as well. So that we are asking basically that wellness benefit be allowed to be paid. It would currently be paid this year out of our existing budgets, with plans when we start our 2023 budget planning to add that line in there.
No, I think our plan, I think Chief Stern's plan as well would be the officers sign up to be in that program, at least on our part, and we would have a number that we would come with to add into the budget year, so it's not a big pot that we just pull out of, that the money would have to come back. We would have a specific number.
I'll have 2 years of data. We don't necessarily sign up for it because they have to take the test no matter what. They can't choose to do that. But if they do score high enough, then they're eligible for that benefit. So I'll have 2 years of data. Currently we're running the test twice a year. So I'll actually have 2 years of data, which would be 4 tests. I believe Councilman Cain has run that test as well. Kind of knows what goes into it. So we will have a good idea just of history where we are at. I don't expect any more than 10, maybe 12 members of our department to do that.
Are you rewarding like your level 4?
Our level 4s and 5s are being rewarded with this wellness benefit, because level 3 is our minimum, so we're not going to reward the minimum, but we will award those that have gone above and beyond.
So it's just the approval to pay from existing funds?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Any other questions for the chiefs? If not, we take a motion to grant approval to pay that from existing funds. Motion's been made by Jamie,
Second.
second by Rick. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ron is back one more time for ordinance 2022-04. This is an amendment to 2021-15.
Good evening again. Last late summer, fall, you all enacted an ordinance creating a stormwater utility. And in that ordinance, it provided for the invoicing of the fees for the service through Decatur County on property tax statements. It's proven out that that is not a workable approach, so thought has been given to this, and the proposed amended ordinance before you would change the invoicing system to such that the invoicing would be done through the city's utility department on a monthly basis, that residential properties having a utility account would be invoiced at the rate of $3.50 a month on the monthly utility statement as an additional line. And then all industrial, commercial, and unimproved properties, even residential, that does not have an existing account with the utility would be billed separately on a monthly statement to those property owners. We have been working with Decatur County to get up-to-date addressing for all of these properties. Donna and I have been working on that, and when we get the rest of the data we need from the county, we will be able to generate such invoices.
Important to note that there is no change in any monetary numbers in this amendment.
It's really the invoicing methodology that's being requested to change.
You read my mind.
That's not the intent. The intent is to make it work out. Yep.
When's it supposed to take effect?
This has to go through reading tonight. It would go through next month's reading, and then it would be on the following months. So that would be what, February, March. It could be on April.
You're gonna have the information that you need from the county?
We believe we can. They've actually provided us with all of the data needed within the city proper, but we have a few people on wastewater services that are outside the city, and we're still gathering up data from anybody in Adams, Washington Township unincorporated, or if you could. So when we get that, we should have everything we need.
Any questions for Ron?
I guess we talk with Donna to make sure we're gonna be able to manage this, or is this gonna take a lot more time, or once we get it set up in the system, is it?
Yes, that's the thing, getting it set up. And as Ron said, we're getting the information from the county, and then we're getting a new software system, and it's in the implementation stage. So I'll get that to them, and we're hoping that it will be able to be effective April 1, as far as the billing goes. Once it's set up, it should be easy to manage.
Any other questions?
I should add too, in preparing for tonight, there were some clerical errors discovered in the draft of the ordinance that you have, including the spelling of your name, Jamie. I apologize for that. And those will be cleaned up in the version that you see for a second reading.
Okay. We take a motion to approve 2022-04 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Darrell, seconded by Jamie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay, thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Before we do the Board of Works update, I've had a request. Mr. Mark Rozell has reached out to my office and asked to have the opportunity to come before you and address items for water, sewer, storm, and trash. Mr. Rozell, for the record, resides at 504 South Ryle Drive. Welcome back, sir. You'll have a few minutes.
Thank you, good evening. I would like permission to say one thing about this fire protection, if I may, before I start on this. If I cannot, then I understand that too.
As long as we keep it within reason.
Okay.
Okay.
May I ask the chief, how many gentlemen can sit in the Washington Township truck?
So
many
we have two,
capacity?
we have two trucks.
No, I'm talking the one that does not have the striping. Is that 5-seater, 4-seater?
I guess I'm confused. What do you mean that doesn't have the striping? The ones that are in question tonight?
Correct.
There's two of them.
And how much seating capacity do we have in each vehicle?
One has 4, the other one has 6.
Thank you. We're talking about 10 possible people's lives is what we're talking about by not having the correct chevrons that we need to have. There's no cost limit that can be put on this. There's a few of us in this room that have worked on the roads, and worst place you could possibly be. And the insurance people have left, don't know if they take care of the life insurance for the city, don't know if they take care of the workman's comp for the city. Two big things here, just my opinion. Thank you for pointing out the safety factor. And this is just for my clarification and some other people that have asked me. 2021-23 ordinance, 12.4% over the next 3 years, correct? For a water increase, which is 4.15% in 2022. We had a rate increase in 19, 20, and 21 of over 7% each year, which in my math, that is pretty close to 34% since 2019 we've had in our water increase. Sewer, 2021-24, 23.4% over the next 3 years, 7.82% in 2022. Storm sewer assessment fee, which was just spoke about. The property tax deal, I was going to question that, but that's already been addressed. Is this going to have an annual increase of 3% a year forever? Can anyone answer that question?
The ordinance is written so that there is a 3% annual increase until the ordinance is revoked or changed.
Which is forever, possibly. Thank you. And what we changed here tonight, or proposing to change, who's going to collect when these businesses do not pay their individual bill that they're sent? Who's that going to be passed upon? Which department is going to have to collect that money?
The utility is overseen by the wastewater department.
So those gentlemen will have to go out and collect these bills that aren't going to get paid.
Donna Lecker, our utilities manager, ensures that bills are collected, paid, and/or sewer liens. Because we keep it in the sewer department, sewer liens can be placed on those properties.
Okay, thank you. The software that we have to purchase for this new stormwater sewage assessment fee, what budget's that coming out of?
There was no additional software purchased for the stormwater utility.
That was already in the works. It had nothing to do with this.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Trash, 2021-12 ordinance. It was $12, now it's $12.36 this year, 3% increase every year, correct or incorrect? Until the ordinance goes away.
Correct.
Okay. Hydrant fee was $4.27, now $4.47. 4.5% every year until the ordinance goes away.
It changes at the same rate as the water ordinance.
So it's going to get increased more and more because our rates are increasing more and more. So our percentage will increase more and more, correct?
It increases at the same rate.
Thank you. If I elect to stop my trash collection, can I do that if I am a water subscriber and save my $12.36 a month?
I do not believe so.
Okay. should be everything that I have. If we're going to have to get some money to get the chevrons put on the fire trucks, whoever did the decaling on the sides with some names and the engraving on the seats, maybe that's where the document that we need to find will come about, and we can get that decal removed when we do the other decal. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Jamie, an update from the Board of Works.
Zeke Smith came and we approved the purchase of a portable diesel generator to access the lift stations. Chief McNeely came, we approved the purchase of some new firearms and the door access system. So some updates to that basically need to be done. We discussed the update of police policy, department policies. Actually, it was just a discussion that we're going to be getting those so we can look at those. And then we also approved the medical retirement and transfer of ownership of Canine Echo. So, that's that. Chief Stoermer came and we also talked about the fire station task force update and the approval of destruction and sale of some surplus equipment with a camper shell, a truck, a rusted out truck bed, and some seats. We approved the purchase or the sale of one of the seats for $50 and then the disposal of the rest. And then we talked about the terrazzo floor restoration on the other end of the building in the restrooms.
Thank you, Jamie. Before we adjourn, I want to extend a public thank you to all of our departments over the weekend, starting last week: street, fire, police, water, wastewater, 911, and of course EMA, and then citizens that heeded the warnings to stay in. That resulted in a very more enjoyable weekend, I guess you could say, by our first responders, in that they weren't constantly out and about and busy. So to everyone, thank you for the help with that, to our departments and the men and women who were sleeping on cots in our facilities to make sure that essential services stayed operational. We extend thank you to that. As Jamie mentioned, we did do a formal retirement of Canine Echo, so the police department now has 2 canines. Sergeant Chris Bridges, who's been her trainer and handler since the force acquired her, has opted to take her into retirement, and she will be transferred in ownership to him. So that's an undertaking, and grateful for his continued support. Anything else to come before the council?
Just a comment that was brought up was about maybe re-entertaining the ordinance to allow chickens in the city limits. At one point in time, we drafted an ordinance, we talked about it, to allow up to 6 chickens. They had to be, I think it was 20 feet from the property line. They had to be individually caged. There was no free roaming chickens, no roosters were allowed. I guess I'm just asking if it's something we'd even entertain or think about. I think the last time we brought it up, it was a 4-to-1 vote, so if it's something we'd entertain looking at, maybe we can dust that off and take a look at that, or otherwise, where do we want to stand with that?
I wouldn't mind taking another look at it.
My vote at this point wouldn't change.
I didn't vote, but it'd probably no.
No pressure, Mr. Fleetwood.
What's your vote?
He was a no.
Jamie, why don't we try to find it, and we'll just put it in the packet. It won't be on the agenda next month, but everybody can take a, no pun intended, gander.
I know there's some residents that have expressed some interest, and I guess well within their right to approach council and ask for it. In an open discussion, maybe my view would change, but I still consider chicken a livestock item and shouldn't be allowed.
Anything else to come before the council? If not, would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Rick. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.